Hello my yogi friends, today we're doing a gentle flow. It's perfect if you are a beginner doing the practice. I really recommend it. It is really focusing on gentle inversions. I have also made a blog post about it, which is in the doobly-doo underneath the video. A couple of things: if you have a pillow at hand, or if you are lucky enough to have a bolster or a block, that would be really helpful right now. You also may want a wall. Also, if you have any injuries or medical conditions to consider before practicing, please consider them. We are going to be doing inversions, which means if you have high or low blood pressure, you might want to take it really slowly or just avoid this class, or maybe talk to your doctor before doing it. We're starting on our backs. So come to a lying position. You can always use the cushion under your head or possibly under your knees if you struggle with keeping your legs completely straight in this position. Bring your hands out by your sides and you can close your eyes here. Find your breath wherever it might be, the mouth or the nose, and allow it to come into the body very naturally. We're not going to force the breath or control the breath today. We want to take this class nice and gently, and it's not going to be a forceful class. It's just going to be an exploration of some gentle inversions. Allow the breath to become nice and soft without your control. The body can become soft here too. No need to tense your brow or your jawline, your belly or your legs. Your lower spine may be off the floor. Your fingers can come all the way down to the floor. And you can allow the weight of gravity to bring your feet to one side or the other, or they might go away from each other. See how you feel in this space and explore some silence into the practice. Become aware of the space around you. And just remind yourself that this is time for you. This is your time on the mat. Whatever distractions, they're there. Whether it might be other people, an animal. It's okay if they come and distract us, because we can always find our way back on the mat. Begin to wiggle those fingers, those toes. Bring an awareness to them and just allow them to wiggle anything out. Maybe bring that into your arms as well, rocking from side to side with them. Moving the ankles. Bring in some ankle circles in one direction if that feels okay for you, and then the other direction. You can bring your arms up and do that with your wrists, one direction. Remember to breathe with the movement and the other direction. We're not breathing on certain movements here, we're just allowing that breath to flow freely. Not putting pressure on ourselves to constantly worry about where the breath should be. Allow it to just be there. And then bring those knees up so they point up to the ceiling. And then try and get it so your feet come off the floor. Those knees may come right towards the chest, or your feet just might hover off the floor. This could be enough for you, or you could see if you could bring it so your lower back comes onto the floor and you can feel that on the floor and rock from side to side to feel a little bit of a massage in the back of the spine, which is lovely, and it warms up the spine as well, coming from side to side. Your hands can be on your knees or on your calves or on your thighs. Just breathe here and have a slight movement side to side, taking your time. Maybe you bring those ankle rolls, so you come into stillness and bring some ankle rolls in one direction and then the other direction. Warming up the ankles, getting ready for the practice ahead. And then we could bring some circles into the knees, so doing it into one direction, moving those knees, warming up the hips here. Feeling the lower back on the floor, maybe the tailbone. Maybe your bum comes onto the floor slightly, one direction. And then just make sure that you go in the other direction. Oh, that feels so nice. Making sure that breath is there. Wow, that feels really nice today. I obviously needed this. And then bring the feet onto the floor. Stretch out the left leg, bring the right leg towards you. Squeeze it in as far as you can. Then bring it out, and we're going to do circles with the right knee now. So bringing circles into the right knee, one direction. Then the other direction. And bring it in, squeeze. And bring it back out, taking your time. Bring the left knee in. Squeeze it towards the chest as far as you can get it, feeling the compression in the left hip. And you might feel a stretch down the right front thigh. The front of the right thigh. There you go. Do some circles with the left knee, warming up the hip. Breathe in and out. And then making sure to go the other direction. Bring them all the way down, and then bring them so you are in a semi-supine with your knees bent, but not too close to you. That's not necessarily needed. We don't need them right up to our bum. We just need to be comfortable here, but feel grounded as well. So you feel the whole of our foot planted on the floor. We're not going to move anywhere. We're not going to fall or slip. We feel really protected here. So we're going to just do some pelvic tilts. I have explained these before, but if you haven't ever watched any of my other videos, they're just where our pelvis is literally doing a very slight movement, and our pelvis is right here where it's connected to our hips, and it is super important for our legs and our spine. It's what connects the spine with the lower half of our body, and we're going to tilt it upwards, and we're going to get a arch in the back where we could probably get a little gap between our back and the floor, and then we're going to tilt it down, so then the top of it is tilting down and the bottom of it is tilting up, and our bum's not lifting off the floor, but if we could push with our feet, and eventually our bum would lift off the floor, but we want to keep it grounded. So if you want to find that movement, it's ever so slight, and you can breathe in and out. If you have your hands on your hips, sometimes you feel it more. Sometimes it's not as exaggerated as what I'm doing right here, especially if you're a beginner. You may not see that much of a movement, but you might feel the movement. You might not feel anything. That's absolutely okay. We're just going to take our time here with that slight movement. Breathe in and out. And then take a moment, and then when you're ready, we're going to squeeze the knees back towards our chest, or as close to the chest as we're going to get, and we're going to rock to our favourite side, and then push our way up to seated. If you would like your cushion under your bum here, it's very nice because it also helps you lift your spine so that you are not caving forward or arching back. You're in a nice neutral place. Our shoulders are away from our ears. We're going to come into a cross-legged position. If that's not comfortable for you, you can come onto your knees or you can bring your legs out straight. If you do want to come onto your knees, you could bring the cushion in between your legs, and it just allows you to have the space from your bum to the floor a little bit closer. We're going to take some breaths here in our seated position, finding our breath. So the way that our breath works when we are lying down to seated is slightly different because our body is in a completely different place in space. So we might need to find the breath again coming through the nose possibly. Maybe we just want to get that breath nice and gentle. Breathing in and breathing out. Notice the breath. You can close your eyes, take a moment. And then when you're ready, we're going to continue our warming up. We're going to bring our hands all the way up, coming into Cactus Arms. So our hands come up, but our elbows stay parallel with our shoulders. If you don't know why they're called Cactus Arms, I haven't got a cactus here to explain it to you, but look up a cartoon cactus and I think you will get the idea. Try and bring the elbows a little bit back, so maybe you can feel it in the shoulders. Bring them all the way down now, so then your hands are nice and wide away from you. Bring some shoulder rolls coming back, and then coming forward. And we're going to bring in some twists. So bring your left hand to your right knee. Your right hand comes behind you. Breathe in, straighten the spine, lifting it up, and then breathe out, twist. Try not to turn your head too much because we're then putting too much emphasis on the neck. We just want to be turning the spine mostly because we don't want to be over-exaggerating this muscle and stretching this muscle too much because it can be very delicate, our neck muscles. And then come back to center. Bring your right hand to your left knee. Your left hand comes behind you. Breathe in and out. And then come back to center. Take a moment for yourself. Bring your right hand to your right side. Your left hand's going to lift up into that cactus arm and you're going to bend into that right side. You'll begin to feel a stretch down the left body, and you then could straighten that left arm if it feels comfortable for your shoulder. See how it feels there. Don't go too far over. Come back up. Bring that left hand down. Right hand comes up now. Bend into that left arm. Maybe stretch that right arm up. Come back up. Lovely. Now make your way onto hands and knees. So in hands and knees, we want to have our knees under our hips and our hands under our shoulders. If you are like me, now this is something you have to watch out for, even though I have to watch out for it a lot, is if you have hypermobility and your elbows, you might find that there's an overextension of them, and that makes the joint at risk of really getting hurt. So we want to be able to have a little bend to our elbows, as well as having the eyes of the elbows facing towards the front of the mat. And it's really important, and even I as teacher really struggle with giving myself my own cues to make sure that they are doing the right thing. We're going to find our breath here in all fours, and we're going to come into some cat-cows. So to start with, we'll come into cow, we'll drop the belly and we'll lift the hips. We're going to breathe in, lift the chin a little bit, drop the belly. Drop the hips down, bring the back so it begins to arch, and then drop the chin. This is our cat. Breathe out, come and drop the belly, lift the chin, lift the hips. And you can feel that pelvis tilt like we did at the beginning again. Breathe in and breathe out. Tilt the tailbone back down, the back arches and our chin begins to tuck. We're going to engage the core muscles. Breathe in, drop the belly, lift those hips up and arch the back again, tilt the tailbone down, drop the chin. Come back to center. Make your way to standing. We're going to come to standing at the back of the mat. So make your way however you choose to get there. It may not be the same as me, and that's absolutely fine. It is your practice. We're going to bring our right foot forward, and our left foot is going to turn out a little bit, and this just makes room for our hips. And a way to make room even more for our hips, which is really important, we're going to bring the left foot out a little bit so we can turn to bring them to the front of the mat. We're going to breathe here, take a moment, and then we're going to bend that front foot. When we bend this front foot, we're going to come into warrior one legs, lift the hands, look up. Maybe we don't. Warrior one. We could come into cactus arms as well if just bringing them that high is not okay for your shoulders. 2 more breaths. Make sure that front leg's bent. Maybe we can make it a little bit deeper. Bring the hands to our waist. Step back all the way back to the back of the mat. Take a moment here. And then we're going to do the other side. So bring the left foot forward, turn that back foot out. Again, you might want to make some room, and so your hips can face towards the front of the mat. Bend that front knee, lift the arms, breathe in, breathe out, look towards those hands. We're going to stay here for roughly 5 breaths, but if you want to come out, feel free to. Bring the hands to the waist, step all the way back to the back of the mat again. Bringing the feet, so making sure that they're nice and wide, hopefully about hip distance, which will kind of come naturally for you, because you'll find that's very comfortable for your feet. We're going to bring our hands to our waist and bend the knees, begin to fold forward, maybe bend them a little bit more. Drop the hands down and slide them down your legs. You may find that the more you bend your knees, the further that your hands get down. And this means that you may end up touching your toes, which is wonderful. You may not, which is also amazing. And you may find you're touching the floor. If you would like, you can tuck your chin. And this is a gentle inversion, our first gentle inversion, which is our forward fold. What makes it an inversion is our hips are above our heart. Take 2 more breaths. If you need to come out, feel free to. Bring your hands back to your hips and push with your legs, lift back up. Nice strong spine. Take a moment here and make your way back down to the floor when you are ready. Coming onto the floor, we're not going to be obviously able to do this smoothly with like connecting postures because we're about to use the wall. So we're going to do legs up the wall. If you don't have a wall, that's absolutely fine. You can do it in the middle of the mat and I will demonstrate that. But if you do have a wall, that's perfect. We're going to bring ourselves so our backs are against the wall. And we're going to bring ourselves so we begin to twizzle around and turn around so we face the wall, but obviously we can't face the wall, so we begin to lift our legs and then our bum gets to be on against the wall. Isn't our bum lucky? Then you might need to shift a little bit close to the wall, bring it so your toes are above you, and then you can take your cushion and you can lift your hips pushing up on the wall. Pop that cushion under your hips and then you are in the posture. You could bring your toes towards you, which I recommend, and this is a wonderful posture for after a workout, after a long day at work. This is really good at helping you get any built up lactic acid from your workout or walks or just work in general. It just takes away the inflammation and helps circulate your blood around your body. Breathe in and out here. It can be a very relaxing posture. If it's too much for you, you can come out. And if you'd like to stay here for 5 to 8 breaths, I would really recommend that. If you have not got a wall, then you can bring yourself onto the mat, sit on your cushion and rock yourself back onto the floor and simply lift your feet up, bring in so they're flexed towards you. Now this is going to work your core a little bit more than just being leant against the wall, but it still works and it still does its job. So stay here for however long you feel is right. 5 to 8 breaths is quite relaxing, but if it's too much, you can come down. And I mean, I don't know if there are pregnant women out there, but if you're pregnant and you find you get sore ankles, again, feet up the wall is excellent for you. If you get sore ankles anyway, this is just such a good posture to do. And then if everybody would like to come down from the posture. So the way we're going to come down from the wall is essentially the way that we're going to come in. We're going to bring our knees and we're going to bend them and we're going to rock to one side. And gravity will do the rest of the job and hopefully we can push ourselves back up. We're then going to come back to the mat and come onto our backs. And we're going to explore one more inversion before we begin to wind down and come onto our backs for Shavasana. So, in the middle of our mat, we're going to come into bridge pose. This is an inversion. It's also a back bend, and it can be it could be bigger, it could be smaller, whatever works for you is absolutely fine. So I'm going to give you 2 options. So you could either come into just a normal bridge pose, pushing through your hands and pushing through your feet, lifting up, tilting the tailbone, pushing up and then engaging your glutes when you come to the space which is your top space for the posture. Breathe in and out. You don't have to hold it, you could come down straight away. Or you could stay up there for a little bit. You could stay up with 5 to 8 breaths, or maybe you just want to move in and out with your breath. And that's absolutely fine. If this is a little bit intense for you, you're welcome to take your cushion, bring it under those hips and bring yourself down into a supported bridge. So whatever you pick, come into it for as many breaths as you like. Take your time and just really take your own initiative here, which is sometimes a bit scary, But I just want you to know that this is your practice and you can choose any route that you want to choose. You could try all 3 of them, or you could just simply pick one. Bringing yourself all the way down to the floor, dropping your hips down, removing the cushion if you had one. I'm going to bring mine behind my head, and my knees are going to come towards me now again. Hug those knees in towards you and rock from side to side again. You may find you get some stillness, which is really nice sometimes. And then we're going to plant those shoulders so you can feel them on the floor. Bring your feet up, your knees are pointing kind of towards the sky, I suppose, but I suppose the tops of our shins are pointing towards the sky. And we're going to twist towards the left side, and then we're going to twist towards the right side, keeping it quite fluid. Maybe you find that you want to stick with the space, maybe you don't. Just trying to keep our shoulders on the floor. Maybe bring your arms to be those nice cactus arms that we did earlier. Breathe in and out. Maybe you stick to one side, maybe you don't. And then plant the feet all the way down. Bring your legs to come all the way down, bring your arms down. Maybe you get a blanket and we're coming into Shavasana. Take your time in your Shavasana. Breathe in and out, and we're back to where we started. I happen to be facing a different way, but I am back to where I started. So Shavasana is really crucial for our practice because it slows the breath. Maybe we lifted our heart rate up, it can bring it down. And we can just really take a moment for ourselves once again. So if there's any distractions around you, just kind of let them be. Any thoughts that burden you, we can pop them to one side. Whether or not you need to put the washing out, or whether or not you've eaten some vegetables today, we don't need to worry about that right now. We just need to put that to one side and then bring our awareness to our breath. Allow the breath to be nice and soft. Everything comes down. Everything weighs onto the floor. Breathe here. Begin to bring some movement in the fingers and the toes. And bring the knees towards you. Hug the knees in towards you and let them go to where they feel comfortable. Rock yourself to your favourite side. Push up when you're ready to seated. Come to whatever seated position is comfortable for you. Try to keep your eyes closed. And then we will bring our hands down to our knees. Open out the palms. Take a moment. Find the breath. Bring your hands to your heart center. Bow towards the hands if that feels comfortable for you. I thank you for being here. I would like you to thank your body and your soul and your self for being here. I also want you to thank your body for nourishing yourself and make sure that you look after yourself. and I hope to see you next time. And yeah,